This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, it's 6:14 there, but then on that clock off.
Probably.
I didn't mean to do it. Back in the olden days when they weren't synced to the. Remember when you had to reset every time? Now it's automatically updated for the most part. Except for the one on your stove. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, with that, it is 6:15. I'm gonna go ahead and open the meeting. And thank you. I will do a roll call of the commission. Ladies, can you not? Thank you. Commissioner Way.
Here.
Commissioner Ranson. Here. Commissioner Hankins. Here. Commissioner Hardy.
Here.
And I am Mayor Lisa Roberts. So they're here. Now we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So our first item on the agenda is a request of Commissioner Way for updates regarding utility billing, number of meters, where we're at with our website. Ms. Brenna.
Yes, so we have a total of 361 addresses with the radio reads now. 412 do not still. Still working on it. We still have, let's see, there's 25 people that have bought a meter, specifically the grant meters, that have not scheduled a time to do it. Actually, that'd be 24 because I just got a hold of one today. Things of like, we have a couple of bad valves that they can't turn off the water, or curb stops that they have to get fixed in order to turn off the water in order to get that replaced. So there's more work that has been done with coming to this, but it's stuff that needs to be done for these homeowners. So it's kind of been a bittersweet thing, I'm sure, for them. Let's see, 24 people have registered with our new portal. And the website, they had a 25% completed with all the transfer stuff from our current one to the new one. You can go and check it out right now if you'd like. I can give you that link, but until it's completed, we can't go in and change it ourselves. Otherwise, it would affect their transfer process. They expect on April 14th to be the completion date. And it's just ennis.municipalimpact.com. You can go check it out. I was kind of cruising through it the other day just to double check on it. It's looking pretty good. There's definitely still a lot more things that they need to do, but we're almost there, getting farther along.
You said 124 people registered for our new portal.
Yeah.
How many properties is that? Like I registered, but we have all of them under my name, so.
Ooh, that's a good question. I want to say when you do the report I was looking at, it does break the properties out. So I'm going to say it's 124 properties.
124, and we have 700 approximately.
Yeah.
750.
Yeah,
I will say.
Yeah, I will say when we print out the paper bills, which a lot of people that get the paper bills don't do the online.
Mhm.
I want to say it's still 320 so paper bills that I do.
Okay.
So there's still quite a bit of people that haven't transitioned to the modern online stuff, but.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions for Brenna? Any other updates? Okay, next item is claims. The reason for the second meeting a month is to go to pay claims, so we're not paying any interest or anything like that. So, any questions on claims?
Questions?
I'll move to approve claims.
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Okay, Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes and approved. Okay. Our next item is public comment on non-agenda items. Any public comment on non-agenda items?
I have a question. I don't know if I stand up or.
Yeah, public comment, we can hear comments, but we can't it's not necessarily a Q&A, but we can
That's
hear
okay.
back. Okay.
Yeah, like it's just, it's kind of a general question, I guess, that I've wondered for a while, and I was discussing with somebody this week. We were really wondering about the recycling in town,
Mhm.
and I've heard multiple people say or bring up that it doesn't actually go anywhere, it doesn't actually, and I'm just curious if there was a way to pinpoint that we know that the recycling program works here in town.
So that would be a question for the Madison County Sanitation Department.
Oh, okay.
And there's actually, I believe there's a solid waste board as well with Madison County. So they can
Okay.
ask your questions because they're the ones that are responsible for, like when you take your stuff out to the dump,
Yep,
that is their rodeo out there.
okay, that's, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, any other public comment on non-agenda items? Going once, going twice? No, okay, here we go. Okay, scheduled matters. Okay, so our next one is consideration of the Long Branch Traditional Neighborhood Agreement. So I printed it out for you. Brenda's gonna put it online as well, and then I guess we'll let Susie and planner Cody Markser, Madison County Planner, they've been working with this. And so maybe we'll start with the staff report. You want to walk us through it?
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted me to read the entire staff report or just the actual agreement. It's up to you what you would like me to do, but I think we all know it's the Long Branch. They want to build a second floor addition. It's in the traditional neighborhood development zoning, and that's why it comes before the commissioner. We had 2 meetings for the planning board. They approved on March 15th to send it to the town council. There is a picture of where the property is, the property location. It's 125 East Main Street. There's a utility easement that runs along the backside and the south side of the property. And right now it's currently 2,500 square feet in size, and the second floor will add a total of 1,011 square feet. All the property around it on the north, west, and east sides are commercial, local commercial residential. Property, well, they all are.
I think they're core commercial residential, and then the ones to the south are the local
You're right.
commercial.
I'm sorry, I read the wrong one. Cody actually supplied these pictures for me, thank you, Cody, of the street view, because somebody on the planning board had asked for like a street view, what it would look like if it was a second floor. Probably the most important part is the conditions that the planning board, the conditions that the planning board have put down for the commission to look at. So the conditions of approval from the planning board, some of them from the planning board, some are not. The first one is the application for zone site permit is considered binding and the project shall be compliant with representations provided therein, except as modified by these conditions or by agreement with the town of Ennis. Any necessary approvals from the town public works department shall be obtained. The developer shall prepare and enter into a T&D agreement acceptable to the town. The T&D agreement shall include reference to all conditions required by the town. All ordinances of the town of Ennis shall be adhered to at all times. All requirements of the Ennis Town Code, including zoning requirements, shall be adhered to at all times. All applicable building and safety codes shall be adhered to. Second floor barriers on the north, west, and east are shown on map A1. It will consist of black hot wire with black cap with standard metal railing. It will be 6 to 8 feet high. The wire will be smaller than 4 inches, which complies with the state code. Structural engineer plans shall be submitted when complete. The applicant shall adhere to all applicable required permits and requirements. All neighboring businesses will be notified 72 hours in advance of materials that will be coming in from Stephen Street. They do not plan on any supplies coming from Main Street. Hannah Lambert will speak to businesses directly. Written verification of temporary easement access granted by the easement holders to the applicant for construction activities must be obtained and provided to the town prior to the onset of construction activities. Condition that written proof from the Department of Transportation that the existing posts are approved. It will be covered in the state/DOT permit approval. All hazardous materials will be handled in accordance with the state standards and applicable permits per town code 10-3-4. Grease traps will be installed prior to operations. ADA compliance will be prioritized by the applicant and will comply with all applicable permitting requirements. Trash enclosures in accordance with 11.4 S, I'm not sure that's correct. I will definitely look it up. Section E, this is still being worked out by the neighboring properties, and a plan will be provided to the town. Parking requirements, 11.4.10. Section 17, Long Branch is talking to a neighboring property owner and will provide a plan in writing. So, and there is an illustration on the back side for the, yep. And Tyson from 406 Construction is also here. So he's has a lot of knowledge in that area. So if there's questions I can't answer, or Cody, Tyson will jump in. So if you have any questions.
My questions are, well, I guess we can open up to the commission, but I guess my questions are the things that were initially asked for, like the written permission, whether, if you didn't have an easement already, if the written permission has been attained, has there been an agreement with the parking, are those things set and ready?
As of 20 minutes ago, they're still in the works. She's waiting for an email just for the easement, so
Okay.
that even if it's a private easement or not, that we'll have okay to use it. She hasn't verbally that they've said yes. She was just waiting for an email to get to her so that she can send it over.
Okay,
So yes, in the works.
but it's not here.
Not here yet, no.
Okay. And what, oh, sorry, and I guess the same on the other things that, says will be worked out. I think those were mentioned in the first February meeting. I guess those are the questions. I'm sorry, I should back up. I'm excited for Hannah and the Long Branch to do a second story. I think it's, I think it'd be really cool if it, fits the Western character of our town. It is a prominent location, and given that, if you've all watched the Madison, Long Branch was prominently featured on the sign was prominently featured on the drive down Ennis Main Street. So it is a historic building, prominent building, and we want them to be successful. So we want to make sure that, given its prominent location, its common walls and everything, that when the project is done, it's something, even though it's one person's property, that we can all be proud of it as a community. So I would like to say that first. So given that, I guess I'm just surprised that those things that were asked for in February are not here. So, because I know there was a pretty big push upon myself, from the property owner to make sure that, you know, it was on the special meeting, because this is not a typical meeting that we have. We usually, we're kind of reserving it for the claims. So just myself, it's the commission that decides. But given that those items, are not complete as of the meeting dates. And so,
And what items were those again, Lisa?
so it is item number 10 of the TND.
Tyson, I don't know much about structural engineering plans. Is that typically done at the end or the beginning? Do you do one on the building itself to see if it's structurally engineered for the second floor?
We
Or is
have-
it all done at the end?
No.
Because it says submitted at the end.
Well, no, it's not submitted at the end. We have to submit that before we can start any construction. We
Okay.
have to have a structural design.
Okay.
For state code and for the state permit.
Do you have that as of now?
It's being worked on.
Okay.
So we really can't do anything, even if you guys give us approval.
Mhm.
We can't do anything until we have that structural design, because we can't.
Do you have to get approval to get that?
Well, no, from the state we do. Not necessarily from you guys, obviously.
Okay, so you're working on that. You don't need approval from it. That's what, okay.
Can I just offer in a little bit on
Sure,
process so
Yeah.
everyone's clear?
Please.
So on these, this comes to you, this is really pretty standard. It's the first step for a landowner in pursuing something because this is one piece of multiple permit layers. So looking at conditions of approval, how this works, if you decide this project meets the requirements as set forth in your zoning ordinance, then the approval doesn't become valid until those conditions are met and those are provided. So it may be a vote yes tonight, but it's not a go until these things are in hand. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
So the permit that was included is not signed off on until all of those things are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And then also just remember, because I know there's been some kind of gray area, but it's really hard to stay focused on, and I know the zoning code is, I won't say grossly outdated, but it's older. But that's what we're limited to looking at tonight.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of comments and concerns that came up with the planning board and totally valid, but they're not included in your code right now. So you're limited to just the code.
Yeah.
Does it meet the requirements? Yes or no? We can put conditions on, but venturing into things that the town doesn't have any authority over, such as building codes, engineering licenses, that's not really the purview here. That's dependent on other permits.
Mhm.
So this is just the green light to pursue those next steps, and because there's lots of pieces that have to fall into place.
So we've approved things in the past like this with conditions that were never met. And the
Yeah.
projects are complete and walked away from.
Yeah, so nothing should, no construction or any activity should occur until the permit is active. The permit should not be active until the conditions are met. So you withhold that.
Who enforces that? The
Yeah,
state
who
or?
enforces that?
As far as your zoning, the town, zoning administrator. Yeah, yeah.
Well, we've done a very bad job of that in the past, so.
Well, it's a new day.
But one of the things that is in our purview, based on the TND, is design quality. The design quality of the site, landscaping, structures viewed in context with proposed project's compatibility with its immediate surroundings and with the town's unique character shall be a primary criteria with the acceptability of all TND proposals shall be measured.
Yes. Yep,
Okay.
because that's described in that section of your
Yeah,
code.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Which some of that could be argued as subjective, but as a collaborative, you should
Yeah.
determine what that means and what
Okay.
that looks like.
I guess my question for Tyson here is, I know this is kind of open or whatever, how tall is that hog wire?
It says 6 to 8 feet, but that's a big variation.
So we're totally under 6 feet is kind of the standard for a security fence.
Okay,
I know there was, and Susie and I had talked about it, we can go 8 feet if you guys recommend 8 feet, because the neighbors, are a little bit worried about things falling onto their roof, that kind of thing. So that was purely put 6 to 8 feet. 6 feet is the standard for a security fence. If you guys feel we should go 8 feet, we can go 8 feet.
I guess my concern is it's gonna look like Fight Club.
An MMA octagon.
It's,
Not to hurt anyone's design perspective feelings or anything like that, and So that is what, and did Hannah ever consider like some of the buildings, for instance, that are downtown that are second stories, but then just have a balcony off of it, and so it's not so open, like actually enclosing it and then just having a really large balcony?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that though.
Yeah.
Mainly money. It's probably
Sure.
put $1 million extra on the project, just to make that much more, closed in space. Because then it becomes another issue with state permitting and stuff, because we go over a square foot number. So
Okay.
There's a big difference in price
Okay.
there.
How does that work too? How is this gonna increase the occupancy?
Occupancy right now, we're staying under what we,
Because it's 50 or something right now in the bar, right? So what is that gonna increase? Is
the
that state standards?
state standards, yeah, they tell us what the occupancy will become.
So the state, are they also? It's weird to me that there's no exterior stairs. Is that normal? Is that state code? Is that what how does that work?
It's based off occupancy, again, on what your fire code is, for the state and what occupancy, it's purely based off occupancy.
If you're required to have an exterior staircase
Yeah,
around?
if we need a secondary fire escape.
Okay. But the occupancy is only based on the interior
Square
square footage. So even though you're adding,
footage.
so the occupancy could be,
It's conditioned space is what they base it off of.
But
so
still,
even,
who enforces that? Is the state gonna come in
The
and
state
check how
does.
many occupants you have?
Yeah, so the state, it'll purely be, the state will do all inspections on it. So they'll have fire code inspection, they'll have electrical, plumbing, life safety, ADA, anything that any business, commercial will have, it'll actually be
So
a
it's
state
a closer
inspection.
paramedic, state inspectors.
okay, so I'm gonna be really blunt. So is the reason for not finishing more square footage on the top is to circumvent the,
No, it's purely a money thing. Because it really would, if we made that whole entire thing upstairs, we're probably talking at least $1 million more just in construction costs. Because that would move us to conditional space with,
that's what I'm getting at.
square footage.
That's what I'm getting at. So what I'm getting at is that you're adding technically more occupants that are gonna use, whether they're inside or outside. There's gonna be more people upstairs than really the conditioned space.
No, they'll still dictate, fire code does. Fire code will still dictate it.
It specifies out definitions of what is allowed in conditions.
Okay, so how many people are going to be allowed upstairs?
I can't tell you that until we turn it into the state.
But the whole building is 84, if you have a number, didn't you give us a number?
2,500.
There's 2,500 on the bottom.
No, I'm talking
Well,
about,
occupancy right now, I think inside the building is like at 75 or something like that. It's posted on.
If that, I wanna say. I don't
Yeah, it
think
might not
it's
even be
that.
that. I'm not exactly sure what the occupancy is, that's just, I think, but it is posted on top of the building.
okay, but we didn't have a number for, with finished space upstairs.
We have no idea until the state gives us that. I mean, I could wild guess that it's probably gonna add, because of square footage, like 25, 30, somewhere in there. But it's purely a guess, like, don't write that down,
Sure.
because the state totally dictates that.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with this state's final approval because when the 3 stories went up, I wasn't on the board then, but the town had to say yes, and they thought that maybe the county or the state would shut them down for not being able to, we don't have the correct equipment to get up to the 3rd story or the 2nd story.
And they made them put fire suppression, and they have a sprinkler system in them, I believe.
But still, like how,
When you don't have an adopted internal fire code or codes, you default to the state codes. And the state will say, you guys gave it a pass to build up. The state then comes in and says, they don't have a ladder truck that's gonna reach, so if you want this insured, you have to do this, this, and this. So that was the rules, but it's outside of the town's purview at that point, because you default to the state.
Right, I'm still feeling that way even with this. I think it would be a great thing to be welcome, or I would definitely welcome it, but, you know, we approve it and then the state approves it, and then next thing you know, there's something goes wrong again.
I think the
Right,
fire
does that make
department does
sense?
have a fire truck now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
still,
it's-
even,
I guess
we
maybe in
approve
that,
it, there's
yeah.
still something that can
Yeah.
come back on us regardless, right?
Well, I
The
think,
occupants
well, I think
anyway.
what she's saying is that we do default to the state code, because we don't have a building, we don't have our own
Yeah.
code, and we don't have a building inspector. What is in our purview are those things, so we can, and what codes that we would, you know, all of our codes that are there. So that's what we're allowed to enforce, is what our code is. So it's through the T&D, it's the design quality, and then it is also the other things of, you know, in regards to like the pre-treatment with the grease trap and the garbage, and those things need to be done. And I would say the ADA, well, it's a federal law, it's the ADA compliance.
You can recommend it, but you can't require it because you've not adopted that.
So there we go, but
But
at the same
licensing
time,
typically includes it. So,
yeah, the licensing typically includes it,
Mhm.
and you're setting yourself up for a lawsuit too, as a private property owner too.
right, yeah, it usually behooves someone to go above and beyond them at those levels, but, and if for some reason someone doesn't, you drive by a year later and you don't think they're meeting the requirements anymore, the enforcement then falls to the state. You make a complaint to the state, they come and investigate. I mean, it's, you know,
Gotcha.
it's not a flawless system, but unfortunately, like kind of where the community is and the town is right now, it's where you are. You're probably at the point where looking at building inspectors and enforcement and things like that is something to be considering, but you're probably not right there yet. So unfortunately, some of those things.
So why
have to go
wouldn't we get
elsewhere.
this done before we approve it, to make sure that it's?
You don't, because you can't change your regulations
In the middle of
to
something.
I
fight
mean, things
something.
like the 2 or 3 items that Lisa brought up that are not complete. Why don't we get those complete before we approve it, to make
Because,
sure they're done?
yeah, because your code says that you're gonna meet certain timelines on
Mhm.
review, you can't hang something out there. You cannot give the permit and grant it
Mhm.
until those conditions are met, but you have to make your decision before that happens. Because then what happens, you approve it tonight if it does meet all the requirements. If any one of those conditions aren't met, it's done. That's it. It doesn't go anywhere.
But who says it's done? The state, so we're strictly relying on the state?
No,
or-
so it's
It's Susie,
Yep.
which
It's the town.
Which one?
you're gone for the next month, aren't you?
I don't think they'll have it ready to go by then, but
We're still at least, I mean, even if you guys say yes tonight, we're a month away with all of our state applications, structural, and then just the general planning of construction, getting things lined up.
So I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, like items that we can talk about tonight would be safety, like the height of the fence, isn't that
No.
something?
No, you don't
We
have
got
anything
design
specific
quality.
to that.
Yeah, design quality is what and does this match
Western character.
Western character?
Like noise ordinance, I'm sure.
So we have a noise ordinance, yeah, we do. So, yeah, so I think it's 10 o'clock during certain times of the year, and then it moves to 11 o'clock.
But also, so they're,
And that applies to everybody, yeah.
right,
And it's
so,
raucous noise.
so a lot of music.
Yeah.
And that screaming, people carrying on, having a good time. Who, does that fall back on zoning too?
No, that's sheriff's, because that is it's an ordinance that we have.
But yes,
So
condition
there's still,
four,
yeah, so there's.
condition 4 says you should, this has to adhere to all town ordinances.
Yeah.
So
Everything's covered.
How about storage, can I ask that, your storage for your building materials, where are you gonna park all that stuff? It's pretty close quarters back there.
That's where we're getting approval, and the 72 hours, which is in there, the condition of already letting neighboring businesses know, giving them 72 hours heads up.
Are you essentially just gonna cut the
But when Hannah
the
talked to me,
turnaround
she
time?
says, you will never, ever block that out. Ever. That's what she told me.
Well, I can't guarantee that.
Well,
But that's where we would give 72 hours heads up. And if you, as a neighboring, I'm not sure if you are a neighboring business or not. But as a neighboring business, if that 72 hours doesn't work, I'm more than willing to work with you. And we won't have materials stored on the back. Anything that comes from, say, the lumber yard here, if it comes on it, just because of the nature of how this construction is gonna be done on the building, everything's gonna have to go straight up on the road. There's no point in keeping it down on the ground because it does us no good there. Because everything we're doing is purely inside or up on top. So we may have, a little construction debris down there, but we'll have a garbage trailer. And I did put in, I can't remember if Susie wrote it in there or not, and I may have missed it in there. But we will have a garbage trailer, but we're not planning on keeping it behind the building. We'll pull it out every night. If we have a grate all back there, if we have a crate back there, anything like that. Again, we'll give the 72 hours heads up. If it doesn't work, we can reschedule, which is kind of why I did 72 hours too, so that it gives me time to kind of prepare in advance. But we're not planning on parking things back there. We're not planning on having things, one, for fire safety, if anything happens, and somebody, even in the other buildings during the time of construction, if they need to get back into that easement. We're planning on keeping it open. Everything's happening on top of the roof. So when lumber trucks come, goes right up on top of the roof.
From the back or from Main Street?
From the back, we're not doing anything on Main Street, because that's just a whole nother permitting process, because that's all DOT.
now you mentioned the easement in the back. To get into that easement to the long range, you have to cross two different properties.
Yep.
And you have written permission from both?
That's supposed to be happening. She's
Well,
been,
one was mine.
I know, I was like, one of them's mine, and I haven't been contacted.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just going off of what I've heard from her.
okay.
Because she's doing that part.
I didn't even know this was happening, honestly, until you just said it. I'm like, oh, wait a second, I'm part of that easement, so, yeah.
It's it's how I understand it, it was the main one is someone from out of state that owns the cabins.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And that one's the one that she needs, because that's the property that runs into her property.
It doesn't, it runs into my property, and then she would have to cross my property.
And then
Or
you
if she
have
came
to
in the
use-
other way, she'd have to cross
Otherwise,
the
you
other
have to
property.
back out, so
Yeah.
you have to use mine, yeah.
She's
too.
landlocked.
So-
Yeah,
She has-
she's
Which a lot
landlocked
of
there.
people use that, so it's like, I mean, a lot of people use that.
But you have not been contacted, either of you?
She talked to me the other day and she said that about the 72-hour thing, she never asked for written permission, and she told me that would never be blocked. Which,
And you have not heard anything?
No, I didn't know anything about this. Corey just told me to come here tonight, so.
Well, I was curious if there is if she might have an easement that's recorded somewhere. Like, so for instance,
Mhm.
just for instance, so, Horsefly Antiques or Horsefly Shop, they own actually right behind Madison River, Fishing Company, and then they own an easement down that way. But then Madison River Fishing Company has an easement over her easement to use it as a driveway.
That's actually mine.
Yeah, but that's how, so I was curious if she does have an easement over, if there, because easements can layer.
we,
Whether or
the
not.
only easement back there is the utilities.
Okay,
It's only a utility easement with the two driveways coming in. Lindstrom's own one, and I believe Josie owns the other side.
Yeah.
And so the road comes in through the Lindstrom's, crosses our property, goes to the Long Branch. On the other side, it comes in through Josie, crosses Josie's, crosses, there's one more building in there,
this is
isn't
what that guy's, Bob.
Yeah, my home in Montana building's in there as well.
There might be a little strip there, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
And so on that side, it would be two property owners, and on this side, it's two different property owners.
Well, that was, the only reason I mentioned it at the February meeting was because, and it seems like it's a I didn't want it to be a hurdle, I just didn't, like I said before, I didn't want you to get halfway through the project and then tempers flare, one day over something, and then it's a full-on fight. So I want to make sure all the heavy lifting is done in the beginning, so there's not any, so it's like, well, you agreed to this, this is what we're doing, everyone's on the same page, and so that is.
Would you entertain a performance bond for the neighbors for this property?
I don't think you can do that, John, because it's offsite, so you either grant the easement or you don't as a neighbor, but
There's always the option, they could use Main Street, that would be way more
yeah,
inconvenience for the business owners.
you gotta be careful getting into like offsite
But
things.
I've sat through 2 of these, and the conditions that are being put on this is nothing compared to the conditions that was put on Thurston's building nor Gretchen's building.
What kind of conditions?
So
I work-
Thurston
Or
had to
Willie's.
find, I'm sorry,
Or Willie's, he said.
they had to find somewhere to put all their equipment and all their supplies. I mean, and then, yeah, this is crazy.
I wasn't here for either of the
Yeah.
other ones.
You're just setting the precedence of what you're gonna allow next time, so.
And another precedence we set in the past is with Madison Foods is every subcontractor needs a town business license. We set that with Madison Foods and they did it. They had 50 some subcontractors coming by.
That's not I mean, for me personally, just as a business owner and in construction and doing a business in different towns, that's, I don't know if you guys have that in your city stuff or not, but.
Yeah.
I mean, Three Forks, we have to do it, Anaconda, we have to do it.
Yeah.
Bozeman, we have to do it, Manhattan. You know, like a $50 fee and you have a 1-year business license.
Sure.
Yeah.
So these guys they could actually park on Steppen Street with their trailers, great alls, whatever, for 5 days and then move it, a few feet. And that's in compliance with our zoning at that point. So that could be a storage space. I'm just saying there are, I'm honestly not sure what Thurston had for storage. I saw their trailer parked out on Main Street.
They had our
multiple
side
times.
lot, beside the body shop.
What's that?
They had the lot beside the body shop.
Right, they're building an entire structure. This is gonna be some cross member, I don't know how much material you're gonna have, I probably shouldn't talk for you, but.
It won't be like an entire structure just because we won't, you know, you don't have a lot of, massive building stuff, just because you're not starting, you know, you don't have the concrete stuff, you don't have a lot of the big. So it's gonna be, I mean, there's gonna be construction happening, but it won't be like building a brand new building or demoing an entire building and building from ground up again.
Is there square footage for there's some kind of a storage area out there, right?
For inside stores,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a closet that's up there. That's included in the condition space though, the 1,100 square feet that's getting condition space added.
So are they gonna be pouring drinks up there or just have coolers for beers or what?
No, it's a bar, the second bar upstairs, inside,
Inside,
inside.
in that 1,100 square feet?
I'm concerned garbage, trash up there. The wind blows 364 days a year here and bar napkins ending up all over town.
I guess I can't really speak to that because it's not my business, you know? Be a good question for Hannah, and just how they're planning on addressing it or.
So I'm going to what's in our purview. This is what I would, and I guess I want to go back to, and Brenna's bringing it up, of what it looks like from Main Street. Thank you, Brenna. Is magic, and, yeah, and if we can zoom in anymore, or that's gonna, yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you. Okay, so from the conditioned space, it's gonna be like double doors or sliding doors? What does
Yeah, I
that
think-
look like?
They're 12-foot bifolding doors. so-
Okay, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I guess I'm just, okay, and what does that say? What's the written part say?
I can't even read it online.
What does it say? Oh, step.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay,
So, and then this is like a batten board
Yeah,
siding?
it's, barn board to match the existing.
Okay. And then this is hog wire up here? So you're gonna have the railing and then hog wire up here?
No hog wire on the face.
No, okay, that's what I was
Okay,
trying to understand, okay.
That would look like a jig.
Well,
That's why we thought in the making.
Okay.
No hog wire.
So glass panels on the front?
There's
No,
glass.
so,
No, to be open.
so, and
So
how
hot
tall
water
is
is
it?
just on the side?
Hog wire is just on the side, just to
Okay,
protect.
and how
the
tall
structure
is
on the side.
this? What is the
Code's 42 inches, so we have to be
42 inches?
Yep.
Okay.
38 to 42, but it'll be
38
42.
to 42.
And that has plexiglass or some sort of,
It'll be similar to what's across the street on, can't remember what building it is, but that has the balcony that's over top.
Yeah,
Is that the bank? Yeah.
the bank or the
It wasn't old thing.
engineers building
Fence
too.
wooden things?
Yeah.
thanks.
There's building too.
And
So,
it'll be, well, it'll have to be the code, just because the state will call us out on it, so nothing will be more than 4 inches.
Just gap wise.
And is there a height on that?
Yeah, it has to be 38 to 42 inches, but we'll be on the 42 inch side,
Okay, so the 6 to 8 feet is in the building.
just on the sides, yeah, east and west.
so that's, I'm concerned about the design quality of that. I'll just be honest.
With what kind of notes, I guess, just so I can.
I just, because you have, so you'll have the little squares of the hog wire and then you've got the vertical. It just looks, so in Ennis, we have a problem with deer. So everyone had their 4-foot fence and then they jimmy rig something on top. And it looks terrible. And that's what that looks like to me.
So,
So I just think the design quality is not there for that. That just looks like a stopgap measure, because we did express, concerns about the neighboring buildings. That kind of stuff, but I don't, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, that is,
the plan is, and it's not represented great on this, is it'll be a steel structure.
okay,
So you'll, continuing up from the post, which you can see on the actual guardrail that's down below it.
okay,
So you'll have a guardrail on the inside, outside of it, going up with the drape rail or grab bar at the top rail, will be that hog wire going up, but you will have to have post every 6 feet.
yeah,
And then there will be a top rail all the way along top of it too, a metal top rail. And she's planning on having light in that, just kind of decorative, like light going in
okay.
to dress it up. As drawn, it's hog wire, because that meets every code that we would have to do.
Yeah,
I mean, if there's something more creative, I can speak for Hannah on that and say that, she's open. There's just not a lot of things that are, I mean, if we make that a solid wall, it's really not gonna be appealing. If we do any sort of steel paneling on it, it's, again, from visual wise, it's gonna be less attractive.
I mean, isn't there buildings on both sides anyway?
Yeah.
not 2
You're gonna
stories.
see- No, because it will be open.
Yeah, the building to the.
So it will be open. You will see.
So that's what it, and it's hard to tell from these pictures, but it looks like there's a cage on top of the building when you're driving into town.
Yeah, very much so. Is there, so she did like mini splits last year, right? Are those units gonna stay up there?
They'll stay up there, but we're moving them to the back of the structure, so they'll be behind, they'll actually be hidden more than they are now, because they'll go behind the new structure that's going on the second floor.
Okay.
So they'll be closer to the alleyway.
so 38 to 42 inches for that front railing. And then the hog panel goes up how far?
6 to 8 feet. 6 feet is the Montana standard for a safety fence. But if we put 6 to 8 feet in there, just because there was some, in the comments on the TND, there was some concern about people, if they could throw stuff or climb over it, or, so if you guys preferred 8 feet, and that's what you say in your meeting here, we can make it 8 feet, but 6 feet's the code.
But I guess I want to see a section here of this so that the railing at 38 to 42, and then then there's posts coming up out of the railing.
Yeah,
And
that's what
then-
he's saying, and then there's.
Okay,
that-
so,
that-
and then that's gonna be 6 to 8 foot additional above.
No, just from floor level.
Okay,
Oh, okay, that was my question too, okay, so it's not 6 feet on top of the 42 inches.
No, yeah, it's total.
No, so it won't look super crazy.
It's a little
Right.
crazy.
and I guess
That is
for,
good clarification, thanks, Corey.
I guess I have a question regarding trash being one, you have to be able to access these side buildings for the napkins or whatever else, which will end up over there. So I'd ask that we would address that somehow, I guess, with the designer. What is your plan to abate the trash off of like the neighbor's roof? Like maybe a beer can, for example, gets tossed over.
Again, I mean, I would fault to Hannah on that.
Beer cans, cigarette butts.
That's scary to think about on your ceiling.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a public space, so they can't smoke up there.
Oh, never thought of that.
So the law is already.
Even though you're outside, you're not outside.
Just have a question real quick about the railing thing. I'm just curious, but like all other balconies have that 42 inch handrail. So why is it necessary to have that additional 6 to 8 feet like around? Is that just because it's part of a larger structure or is it?
It's because it was actually a request, it was out of the discussion at the February meeting. It's because, so they're on plane with other buildings.
Oh, okay.
So you have two on, and maybe.
So it's so
Brenda,
different
can you-
from like a protruding balcony is what I'm saying.
Yes,
Like that's-
yeah, and that was my question. So you
There's
have
people on both sides.
sides.
Yeah. so you're trying-
Lower, yeah, so they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were trying to prevent anything from. Yeah,
Getting on
so,
the
yeah,
other-
so it's gonna
other
go
roofs.
up there, so
Yeah.
onto the tackle shop and then to the guy, yes, so it's gonna, yeah, so their roofs are gonna be accessible
Oh,
from,
I get it now. Okay.
so it's different from your building, which is, adjacent. That's why I was asking about the enclosure and just having a larger balcony similar to.
Yeah.
Similar to what you have, similar
Yeah.
to the Genera building. That seems to be more in line with the design
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
and the Western character of the town of Ennis.
Would it help if I looked up some hog wire images? So we all know.
I think, I mean, I know how wire looks.
Because I didn't know what it looked like, and it made it look way better in my head after looking at it. So I'm putting it out there.
I've got it at the hog wire fence at our house.
And that stuff is 8 by 8.
You can get it in different sizes. But yeah, the stuff that's rated, because they actually make one that's rated for handrails. You can get it in 4x4, 6x5, 8x4, there's lots of different sizes.
And what size will you be using?
Totally depends on you guys. I mean, we know that if you guys do it, we'll do the standard, which is the 6 feet security fence, which is the code thing just for state of Montana. If you're doing any sort of security fence. So 6 feet's just a hair smaller than a doorway.
Well, it's as tall as I am, so.
Yeah.
So if you got your 42 inches, so your
It
railing
should technically be
here.
the bottom of that light switch is 42. if it's
Yeah.
the code,
So 42 inches is gonna be your railing. And then you'll have a hog wire up to here.
Yeah, so you'll see about 3 feet of hog wire, if we go to 6 feet. If you go to 8 feet, you'll see about 4.5
It'll
feet
be
of
as
hog wire.
tall as the ceiling.
I'm not understanding, like all the way across the front?
Not across
the side.
Three
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
Two sides.
Two sides.
Yeah.
The back is
You're
finished.
right.
The back,
You're right.
the back is finished. So that, I think that was the difference.
Because I think it says front.
Does it say front?
I think so, I'll correct it.
Were we just looking at that though? Isn't that the front that has the hog?
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've seen that, so I'm not sure if what the architect did, but I'll have him for sure correct that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with the sentiment that, you know, adding that hog wire on the front does not, doesn't look like, have Western character to it. I guess.
No, turning into
Yeah.
a jail, a western jail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
I
that's-
guess that's my concern, is that, does it fit with the western character of our?
I agree.
so I wouldn't want to, I personally don't want to see it on the front, and I understand having it, on the sides, you have to, I mean, ultimately, it comes down to holding people accountable, so you have to have somebody up on that roof that's, in charge of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
figure out multiple stages. And like in here, it says, any necessary approvals from the Public Works Department, are we talking like just water or anything else? that Might come to.
I think they're fine on capacity and everything there. I mean, they do have to, if they don't already have a grease trap, they have to put that in to
Right.
do with our pre-treat ordinance.
Okay. But that's the only other approval you would get from Public Works?
Eric's on. Eric, do you have any comments in regards to Public Works to this application?
No, I just want to remind everybody our sewer line is directly back there. It's a really bad echo right here, so that's all I have to say, really.
Are you concerned about having machinery driving back there, or what are you getting at?
No, I'm not concerned about any of that. I just want to remind everybody that it is back there. That's all. You know, if something happens in that line while this construction is going on would be my only concern, which most construction people are good enough to move and let us deal with what we have.
But it was all just replaced, 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, I think, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
It'd be nice to get a map of that too, by the way. I'm just looking.
Of what?
I know that Susie and I have been talking about that, the easement map for the sewer and for the water. Everything that is in back here, I'm just trying to.
Water goes in the front. The water's in the front, I believe. It's just sewer.
Water's down.
Yeah, there was something that we were having, finding the
There are
easement.
2 properties with water off of Steffens down that way.
What was that?
There's 2 water lines running down those easements. Each one of those have, but it's just a service line.
Yeah, I just want to know exactly where they are.
Okay.
You know, I've had no trouble with it if it was like Genera's building. You know, like everything you look at downtown. Yeah, I mean, you look at Genera's, you look at the new one we just put up for the real estate, the chamber office, and they all look the same. You look at what they did over there with their new balcony and it all, you know, and then the old bank. It looked like a turd bowl of Cheerios, in my opinion.
Brenda, will you bring up this architectural, the one you had again? I guess, Tyson, what is on the side elevation? On the side of what is, here it's not marked with anything as far as the siding, what would that be?
Same as the front, and it would be kind of the traditional hardwood. It's just hard.
With
to
the
put-
middle strip, right, it's called board, is that what it's,
Yeah,
is that
board and
design board and batten?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the overhang on the front, do you have to keep that in place to, you can't really do,
DOT and.
yeah, I was gonna say, did they let you like
We can.
make it nicer?
We
do
can, well, we
maintenance on
are,
it?
yes, we're planning on giving the whole face a spruce up, just take
Okay.
the siding off, put new board and bat back on there, that's gonna, you know,
Match the rest.
it's gonna be old, but it's gonna be new. But we can't change anything on the structure of that, as soon as we change any
Sure,
structure.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, that they weren't gonna let you do
You can
anything to
change,
that.
just.
You can do
superficial,
maintenance, but you
yeah.
can't
Yeah.
do anything different to it. Okay. I guess I'm just not sold on the hog wire design portion of it. I'm not against the concept of the design or, you know, for the concept of it, but that to me is not, I don't know, I think that's just gonna look, and forgive me, I think it's gonna look okay.
Can I make a recommendation that
Sure.
maybe you all as a commission move through your criteria for consideration?
Sure.
Maybe go back to number one, which is the design quality, but go through those others and
Okay,
maybe yay or nay, this
Yeah.
meets the criteria, and then circle back to number one.
number one, uses, permitted and conditional uses shall be those specified and underlined, that's a yes.
Where are you at?
Number two, uses,
On your staff report or on your T and D?
Criteria required.
staff report.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So number two, uses permitted and conditional, it's, is allowed in the CCR zoning, density and intensity. The maximum permitted residential density, that doesn't apply, it's not residential. And intensity of non-residential use calculated as permitted floor area ratio shall not exceed or be less than the specified for the underlying zoning district by a factor of more than 50%. I'm never really sure on how, can you expand on intensity?
Susie's gonna have to do it, because I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I've always struggled.
It's one of
with
those things in your code, I love it.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a yes. I'm
No,
not
it's
worried.
not a yes.
What's that?
It's essentially a formula.
it's a formula,
Formula.
yeah. I just don't really know where it comes from or why and what the purpose
Yeah,
is,
it's
so
actually in
that's
our
my question.
comprehensive plan, the formula, and it's based off of square footage.
The comprehensive plan from 1996.
Well, that's all we got to go off of.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that is where it came from.
okay. Just curious. Okay,
It's led to some bigger questions for me, I'll just.
yeah. I would say- Okay. We'll just say yes on number three. So, and then parking and loading areas shall be consistent with the comprehensive plan and shall be placed behind buildings screened from public streets surrounding blah, blah. T&D, but it does say for T&D proposals, but may be adjusted by a factor up to 100% provided. So I think, so there is in our code, in chapter 3, there is, and maybe the 2025 legislature made an adjustment to that, is that you can't require parking?
Well, the requirements changed,
Okay,
so I think you're still in line with it,
Okay.
because of the size, because of the population, but it needs a good look.
So Cody's looking for that. The definition of intensity is the total area of non-residential use divided by the area of the site, usually measured in square foot. For example, a 10,000 square foot, two-story building, 20,000 square feet on a 4,000 square foot parcel would be described as having a land use intensity of 0.5.
okay. So this is 3,600 square feet on a, how big of a lot that is. So I think it meets the requirement.
It is, and your parking requirements are okay as of now.
So there are parking requirements, are in that chapter 3. Do you happen to have that, Susie?
I can get it. I can tell you that they are 1/2 short, for their parking. And, I believe Hannah's getting a written confirmation from a business that's closed in the evenings to use their parking. But I can grab it for you if you'd like me to.
Okay.
You want me to? Yes? No?
Commission?
No,
I'm confused.
On the parking, so in our code, it says, if you have this type of business,
Mhm.
you have to have this many parking spots based on, usually it's on square footage, correct?
Yeah.
And
So
so,
what is it for this?
that's what I'm asking, do you
Yeah.
want them to find that?
Yeah.
But in T&D, in the T&D, it essentially says you can waive that requirement. It says T&D proposals may be adjusted by a factor of up to 100%. So they do have,
Just because of historical
yeah,
errors, you're
exactly.
never gonna,
And we don't want a bunch of parking lots downtown. You want businesses, cars don't spend money, people do. So that's why, and that's why the state changed, parking requirements in the 2025. So my concern is not over the parking. I know that's everyone else's concern, but it's a hot button issue. It is not for me.
It is, yes.
It is not for me.
It's tight. For deliveries and everything back there.
Yeah.
Well, this would be on Main Street that she's talking about, I believe, right?
Yeah, the parking.
Well,
is in the
because
back parking.
what does the chart say? It says you have to have so much off-street parking. Or so much off-street parking, but you can use the parking on-street as toward your allotment. But then it's a moot point because you can factor it away.
Because all the other places do it too.
but they're not gonna be parking, employees are not gonna be parking back in the building.
They-
There are no.
They do right now, and they park on our property and Josie's property and everybody else's. I mean, it's
That's a-
a bone of contention at the moment.
So is there, is that
Not.
Ms. Marcer?
I'm looking.
She's like, I'm looking.
I'm right here, I'll pull it.
What you
I think
mean?
I know where it's at.
I'm just curious about.
Are we still on parking?
Yeah.
Okay, so restaurants and bars, plus one for every 100 square foot outdoor sales. We don't have that, so it's one for every, it says 50 in the book, but it's 500, it's a typo. Square foot per gross floor area.
1 for 500, and this is gonna be 3,000 altogether,
What Main Street parking?
correct?
So that's,
So you need 6 parking spots, correct? 3,000, 1 for every 500, that would be 6.
Yeah, we're half short. What she has right now, she's a half parking space short.
So you get 2 out front,
I'm not sure how it's.
yeah, you get 2 out front and 2 in the back, that's 4. That's
I mean,
2
in the
short.
summer, on any given day, there's 4 people in the kitchen, right? I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're all parked in the back, yeah.
yeah. 2 plus bartenders, plus.
Two of them are, I guess, some. But this is a problem everywhere, this isn't.
Well, I think it's just,
But
it's one of those things. Like I said, I'm not concerned about the parking, but, because we could, there could be an agreement, say, with the school and have, I always taught, because I've worked in customer service all my life, that never park in front of your own building.
Right.
And so, and that you park further down, or so maybe, so I would imagine our busy time is typically when school's not in session. Maybe there's some kind of agreement that could happen there with the school property. She could, rent a few spaces over there or ask her employees to park, somewhere else.
in front of somebody else's business.
No, that's why I said, excuse me, that's why I
The bank
said,
lot is down that alley too.
yeah. So I
Where's
was in Livingston recently at the Murray Hotel. The Murray Hotel does not have parking. And they specifically say that, and they say, here's where you can park. It's on the street, but then they also have an agreement at the bank. You can park at the bank from 5 until 8 in the morning.
I believe that's who she's speaking to, is the bank.
So I think to mitigate that is maybe something, since it is part of the T&D, that we could part and put as one of the conditions. And I think it's kind of already there, isn't it?
I would say something needs to get addressed. This may not be that opportune timing for that, because as a person that's tried to deliver back there and got my ass chewed from other business owners for parking for 5 minutes, I don't know how we do something, but something's got to happen back there.
Well, I think it's a, no, it's not a zoning thing, it's a private property issue. So if you're having an issue, you need to tell the owner that you're delivering to, hey, I deliver on Fridays,
Oh,
I deliver on.
we got everybody.
Oh, yeah, and just say, hey, we deliver from 10 to 12 on Fridays, please make sure you're accessible. You know, I think that's, yeah, or you're gonna have to come up and get it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a business thing. Okay, so that's the parking, number 4 of the T&D. Number 5, parks, trails, common spaces. She don't have any room for that, so, it's already developed, takes up most of the lot, so that's not gonna happen. Community facilities and utilities. Community utilities and facilities commensurate the type, size, location, T&Ds shall be incorporated into design plans. T&D plans shall also include the means of transferring ownership and long-term responsibility for such improvements. Utilities are in place. Any changes are necessary from the town public works department should be obtained. So yeah, so if they need to get whatever, new sewer or whatever, so that one, meet the requirements on number 6. Number 7, landscaping and lighting and street furniture. That's really not gonna change. I will say, how are the lights gonna be up there? As far as like,
Is it gonna go?
yeah, I guess, is it gonna be like cafe lighting with the string of light bulbs or neon wrapped around the top? What are,
So it's just kind of come up just because of the concern of those other ones.
yeah,
Originally on the railings, there was no lighting.
okay,
With this, just to dress it up so that it doesn't just look like a fence.
yeah,
I think what she was kind of, just spitballing was kind of just a
Yeah.
little bulb, like the string lighting kind of thing.
yeah.
And
But
then-
even still, well, I guess in the summertime it stays light until 10.
Yeah, so you're on
So-
the same time.
But even still, I mean, 10 to 2, you're gonna need some kind of lights. So it would be kind of that
Yeah, some sort of.
cafe
ambiance.
string lighting.
Or I don't know if you guys as a town have a light.
I just don't want it, I don't want, the Batman,
I can see Skyline.
Yeah, so if you guys have a
Like
code.
beacons in
we'll
there,
follow.
but
Yeah, if there's a town light.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd have to
Kind
be
of dark.
something that's not gonna shine out. Has to
Yeah.
be done with.
yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Corey, you had mentioned about they could park on the road for 5 days. Would they have to move off the road after 5 days, or they just have to kind of like scoot up a little bit after 5 days?
6 inches, an inch.
Yeah,
Something to be
the
addressed.
giant RV van does it.
I don't know. You just
For
have to
years
move, as
ago,
long
I
as
was
you
looking at that
move
RV.
for 5 minutes, you're.
And I have a
yeah.
place for him to park it.
I don't know. It's town,
Parking.
it's the way the code's written, so.
Yeah.
The ordinance, right? Or
I think it just talks about street storage and
Is it
5
an
days is
ordinance
the
here?
max. Yeah, it's 5 days is the max. I think that is an interpretation of it, but, okay. So back on to sign requirements, shall serve as a review guide. I have no issue with the sign. I actually like the 3D sign. I think the sign's appropriate. I think they're Western character. Yeah,
Can
so number 8.
Can we go back to lighting?
Sure.
So if we're talking about this hog wire aesthetic that doesn't seem super popular, like when we, what would the lighting look like up there then if they weren't stringing it on the hog wire? Would it be some sort of old school lighting? Looking like Western appearance type lighting? Can we ask to see?
I think you could ask to see, I think you have to be a little bit careful because you don't define that anywhere. So that's kind of subjective, which You can make subjective decisions, you just have to know that you can stand on them if someone were to challenge it, and you have to apply it across the board from now on. So that's the gamble.
Okay.
And then number 10, streets, alleys, and parking lots, vehicular access shall be designed and constructed to physically constrain maximum. This one really doesn't apply at all because it's not really a parking lot.
I think you skipped 9.
Oh, I apologize.
It's kind of just a little.
Oh, it
one
starts at the
page
bottom.
and then
Oh,
it's-
sorry, yeah, I didn't see that. Thank you for that correction. Access and linkage, maximum attention shall be given to a feature that will enhance convenient, safe, and attractive pedestrian and bicycle access both on and off site. Access to the front is provided by East Main Street, so there does not be a significant improvement planned for pedestrian or bicycle access to the site. So I think that one is okay. And then number 10, streets, alleys, and, so yeah, so. Number 10. So I think we go back to
Go back to 1.
1 and 4. Or what's in our purview.
And I think on these, it would be helpful if you could make some conclusive findings, you don't have to specify, like, if you're not happy with the design, you don't have to say it should be this. It can
Yeah.
simply say, we just aren't comfortable with this for this purpose. Like, you need to be clear in the rationale. Just leave it at that.
Should we open it to public comment? If there is any?
Yeah, I guess we can open, yeah,
Yeah.
they've been public comment
I know,
in
I
the
just-
whole way, but official
I
public
didn't know if we
comment.
had to make a.
Yes, I think, and there is an additional person online, so
Yeah.
besides Eric. So yeah, we will open to public comment if any public has some comments on the design.
I'd like to say that I think it does sound like a great idea. I think it'd look really, really cool. But you do bring up a good point about the hot wire, like that I would never have thought about before, so.
Might have a, I'm 50 years at the casinos, 4-foot tall railing like that is not very tall for a drunk. Is there people gonna be accessing around that area? Around the railing at 4-footer?
Yeah, in the front, they can, yeah. And
And there's not, that's the top of it.
that's the top of it, yeah.
Well, that's, oh,
And then
4 foot isn't very tall.
That's what
Depends on how tall you are, because I'm only 5 foot.
That is relative.
You're not jumping over.
Well, depends on how much you have to drink.
That's true, too. Yeah.
But if that's a safety, that's probably, that's a code.
That's a code thing.
That's a
That is a
code
code?
issue, yeah.
Wow.
And it's not our code.
No.
That was one, yeah, so. What are your, okay, any other public comments? Going once? Going twice? No other public comment? Okay. Any other thoughts?
So I guess this, getting rid of the hog wire altogether, is that,
Then there.
Then the fence is too short on the sides to prevent people from jumping onto the other roof.
and from jumping down onto the sidewalk to their death as well, if they so choose.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's just a couple broken legs.
Yeah.
It's not that
Because
They actually put the hog wire in there after the planning board meeting. It wasn't there.
Yeah, that was,
I'm just gonna say one more thing about it, just because it's like a designer myself, I just think there's probably a really cool creative way that you can come up with something else, like that can look really nice.
That's what I'm thinking.
What if you do, can you do like faux walls? Like not actually structural, but like faux looking walls to build out the, to like where this thing would be? 'Cause
yeah,
then-
I mean, yeah, we can, it adds, lateral stress to the building, because you're adding a second floor, and so then it's a wind load that adds to the lateral load of the whole building. So it affects the structural design of the whole thing quite a bit.
Even just enclose this portion more?
Yeah, just as wind load. I'm not gonna say it's not doable, I mean, if you guys say that's what we.
Would it look better? But would it look better? I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
So,
And then maybe.
does Willie's have a pig wire fence around theirs?
No, they have a.
They have glass.
Yeah, they have like,
42-inch railing with
Yeah.
the less than 4-inch gaps.
and then they have,
What's code?
I'm trying to think, I've only been up there.
They have nothing past the railing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can sit there, stand there, jump over it like you're talking about, but they don't have buildings on each side of them, and that's what the planning board was concerned about, those buildings on that side.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
the
that-
side that's getting everywhere.
Even glass panels or plexiglass panels.
You're gonna have the wind problems, so.
Well, 'cause-
The hog wire lets the wind go through. You put up structure, it's gonna need support underneath of it to maintain the structure.
Even like a faux wall.
Yeah, because it's sheer, it's a sheer.
It doesn't go through it.
Because we get massive winds here.
100 mile an hour.
Yes.
So Cody, do you mind repeating what you?
Burrito napkins
To-
too.
to the neighborhood.
Burrito napkins too, all napkins.
So what if you just did the whole thing in glass?
Well, I think
That's
what,
still
going
sheer.
back to what Cody said, we can't tell them what to do.
We can just say we don't like,
We did,
or we, not that we don't like.
Go back to your definition here, the design quality of site landscaping and structures viewed in context with the proposed project's compatibility with its immediate surroundings.
I
That
don't
would
think
be
it's
your first
compatible.
one?
Yeah.
You don't think it's compatible,
This is what
okay.
they came up with.
And with the town's unique character, yes or no? And then why? Why is it not compatible? Like, can you dictate that to give them something to go with?
So why do we think it is not compatible?
So-
Because of the design.
So parapet walls, which are just, maybe you can help me define this, but it's essentially just a wall, a structural wall, and then the wall just goes up and beyond. I actually have one in the front of my house. So it's like 36 inches taller than the actual roof is. That's kind of, when you look at Old West towns, you have
The fake.
parapet walls.
Yeah, the fake.
Essentially just a continuation of that. So I think, I would argue that instead of doing like an actual fence on something across the front, you would make it all have a parapet wall appearance. Now, back to trash and people jumping over and to sheer load, yeah, I don't, those would all be the questions.
It's not doable, it's just back to the structural kind of drawing board, because you'd have to design the lateral bracing of the entire building differently. For the second floor.
But so how about your sidewalls having kind of a passive appearance? So it could be 4-inch gaps in between the boards, and maybe that would lessen.
Like a fence more.
Yeah, on the side.
Yeah, it would still be just running it through his program and telling us what that lateral capacity is. Similar to like a roof with trusses and snow loads and wind loads and all that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when I look around town, I just see, you know, the false fronts.
Yeah.
And then.
So I think that's the question that Cody asked. If it doesn't fit, why doesn't it fit?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you asked?
Yeah,
And so we have to define why it doesn't fit.
yeah, how are you
Correct.
determining incompatibility?
Okay.
Sure, so I would say the parapet wall thing, unless somebody else has a
Well,
different.
we can't tell them what to do.
We can't tell them.
Why is the hot wire not compatible?
Okay.
Yeah, the hog wire, I don't believe is compatible because the other buildings that are 2 stories are solid wall.
Or some
Okay.
walls.
Thank you.
Yep.
Or
Is that sufficient? I mean, I know at the state when we do stuff like this,
Yeah.
the lawyer like asks like. 10
Well, yeah, and then
different
this one is
Yeah,
different. This one is different from, you know, a standalone building.
Yeah.
You know, the other buildings in town have more of a balcony, or they're you know, in the case of Willie's, it's a standalone building, and is it just 2 sides?
The parking lot, one's
No, I'm just trying to
there's like a
think.
back wall and then the bar and then
But it's 2 open sides.
two over there. Yeah, I got a picture right there.
Yeah, it's 2 open sides, not 3 open sides.
Just like a pergola type of.
Okay, yeah. So it's,
2 open sides with.
meaning, so it's the north side and the west side that
South
are.
side. Right, that are open?
Yeah, so it's the north side and the west side that are open, you know,
That is not.
just like an L, as opposed to, that's the difficulty.
Yeah.
You know, where the other ones are the solid roof, or the solid wall. So, and that, yeah. And Willie's is a standalone building, Burnt Tree is a standalone building.
Yeah.
And so I think the difficulty that we're having is matching the second story,
To what's
what's
around
next,
it.
what's around it. So
Yeah.
2 doors down is Josie's building with a balcony. Across the street is the old bank with a balcony. And we've got Genera's, the building with a balcony, and that second story. So, you know, I would agree with Josie Severson. I think I don't know what the solution is, because I'm not a designer, but I think there is a creative solution to that scenario, just so it will look more, have more continuity with the neighboring properties. So that is my 2 cents. That's up to you guys.
So do we need a motion for that?
Not yet.
What's the process of?
Yep. So I think are you going back to number 4 also? For the parking?
Parking.
Okay, but once you go through these, then I think it would make sense to a motion like we adopt these are basically findings of fact, but the criteria required for consideration, it meets all of the criteria other than this and this, if that's what you decide. And then you would also do the same thing for the conditions of approval. And then you have 2 options at that point. You can either say it's a no because it doesn't meet the criteria, or you have the option to say we encourage more information or alternative plans for one more
Continuance
review.
or table it or something like that?
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't keep pushing it out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we want to see it so that we can do this within 60 days or whatever and get it wrapped up. That would be the probably kinder thing to do, to work with your community, and then see what they can come up with to bring forward, you know?
I didn't know if you could just table it and just say.
I think you want to give them something to, and be really clear why. But I think that's enough on that one, unless someone has something else to add, and then maybe move back to the number 4, the parking, and do the same thing.
So they do have 2 parking spots in back, Susan?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, is there actually anything we can even do about this?
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, you can
honestly,
go back to, because I think the
Condition for
TND,
offside parking, but then again, who enforces it? And if you say somebody's not parking, where they're supposed to park.
There's that, and this TND has, again, got some issues with your code. That basically is a pass, so
Yeah.
you've got all the options.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I would just make sure that the owners are cognizant of their neighbors. If there's a time to do it, it would be now to say, there are 2 parking spaces in back. And that's it.
So then where would the easement concern be brought up in these?
So that's gonna be part of our conditions.
Oh, okay.
So right now, we're just going
That's
through,
for
yeah.
crossing and doing the
So
construction.
we're doing our findings of fact now, and then we can go back. So that is also, that's already outlined in the TND.
I don't think we can do anything with parking. Maybe she would
I mean,
require offsite parking for employees, but I don't know how you do any of
Could
that.
we not require, a sign be put up back there, these 2 spots?
Are there
are
signs?
signs.
There
So
were
that would be-
signs.
What we could do, if you want to, I mean, because the TND is weird, you can give a waiver up to 100%. So it says she has to have 6 spaces, so we can give her a waiver to not have those 6 spaces.
To not have any.
Or we can say, you know, we want to have you work with the bank after I have an agreement with the bank after hours, right? Am I correct? Those are kind of like our, not necessarily the bank, it could be
Yeah.
anybody else.
additional parking somewhere.
Additional parking, prove that you have an agreement for additional parking somewhere else. Those are your options, so we can either waive it or do that.
I just go back to what you were talking about, the Murray, we have no parking at all.
Yeah.
That place is massive, so, I don't really feel comfortable, I guess making them have spots.
I understand it. Main Street is, doesn't belong to the town, it belongs to the Montana Department of Transportation.
Yeah, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Anything.
Whatever you condition, you have to be willing to enforce, because otherwise
Yeah,
it
there's
doesn't
no way
matter.
to enforce
So,
any of it, that's why,
yeah.
like, there's no reason to do anything with parking. She has the 2 spots in the back, this again becomes a neighborly thing where people should do the right thing and
They
slow
should,
down.
they don't always, but it's, I mean,
And it's all over town because we're short parking.
Not really.
Not really.
Like, people are lazy, we're not short parking.
It was never that way.
Okay,
I do it today.
are we satisfied with number 4? So it's really the findings on number 1.
Yeah,
Do we have to do anything with number 4 to say she's fine on the?
no, you can just say,
Okay.
you can just say it's acceptable, yeah.
So we are
But we
saying,
should we should reword it to let them know that we're fine with it.
so I think we have to say the findings of fact are they meet all the requirements of the TMD. Yeah, with the, save for number 1, that we find the design not compatible. Is that?
Yeah, yeah, you could say the application is acceptable as proposed in accordance with criteria 2 through 10. Number 1, we do not feel it meets that criteria because it's not compatible for, not contiguous with adjacent facades. The hog wire is not an acceptable design. I don't even know how to say it.
So they would put that into a motion or add that to the,
And do we not, I mean, you've heard recommendations from the people in the room. Is it
Yeah.
just, we don't put that in the motion?
no, we can't tell them what to do.
Sure.
But I would encourage, conversations and, I mean, but the reality is you can't make decisions till something's in front of you, but, like, my recommendation would be like, prep a couple different options, you know,
Right.
yeah, and bring something forward.
And 5 is fine, 6 is fine.
Yep.
7,
Yeah.
7, there's lighting stuff going on with 8. So we're done on that section?
Yes, I think so.
And you
It's the
can,
original sign, right, is staying.
and you can do that emotion at the end for all of these things too, so you don't have to do that now. But it might make sense for you to do them now, so then when you go through the conditions, if there's something impacted by that number 1, you could talk about it, but.
Okay, so should we adopt those findings of fact?
Yeah,
Motion, okay.
yeah, or they're not technically findings of fact,
Okay.
but you could say,
Condition.
I make a motion that the application as proposed meets the criteria required for consideration for the TND, with the exception of number 1, because it's not.
So I want to see a motion on,
You are?
You could throw it in.
do you want, I don't know the word, do you want any?
If you want.
Yeah.
All right, so this is John Way for the record. I move that we accept the TMD and its, except board number 1 does not meet the design characteristics, but 2 through 8 do. 2 through 10, excuse me, 2 through 10 do, for consideration.
Second. Second, it's like Donnie. Oh, we're not, yeah. Oh, so we should say something.
Any other further discussion? Okay, Commissioner Ranson?
Now,
Oh,
just so I'm clear, this is just a motion on.
Just the criteria.
Yes,
that's the
just
criteria
yeah.
of the application.
That's what I thought. Yep,
It's the staff report if you want to.
Yes, on the, so not, yeah, the TND staff report.
yep, correct. So I'm
Okay, is that clear, Brenna? Brenna's taking the minutes, so. Her. Okay, call the vote. Commissioner Ranson?
Aye.
Commissioner Hankins? Harvey? Commissioner White? So now we move on to the team, or,
I would go to your conditions of approval on your staff report.
okay, conditions of approval on our staff reports. Okay, so number 1, or upon review of this application, the application for the zone site permit appears to be compliant with zoning requirements, including the TND requirements. If certain conditions are required and adhered to. On March 15th, the Ennis Planning Board voted to recommend approval of the Long Branch Saloon zone site permit application subject to the following conditions. Number 1, the application zone site permit is considered binding and the project shall be in compliance with the representations provided therein, except for as modified by these conditions or by agreement with the town of Ennis. 2, any necessary approvals from the town public works shall be obtained. 3, the developer shall prepare and enter into a T&D agreement acceptable to the town. The T&D agreement shall include reference to all conditions required by the town. Number 4, all ordinances of the town shall be adhered to at all times. Number 5, all requirements of the Ennis Town Code, including zoning requirements, shall be adhered to at all times. Number 6, all applicable building and safety codes shall be adhered to. Number 7, second floor barriers on northwest and east are shown on the map. A1 will consist of black hog wire with a black cap. Standard metal railing will be 6 to 8 feet high. The wire will be smaller than 4 inches, which complies with state code. Number 8, structural engineer plan shall be submitted when complete. The applicant shall adhere to all applicable required permits and requirements. Number 9, all neighboring businesses will be notified 72 hours in advance of materials that will be coming in from Second Street. They do not plan on using supplies from Main Street. Hannah Lambert will speak with businesses directly. Number 10, written verification of temporary easement access granted by the easement holders to the applicant for construction activities must be obtained and provided to the town prior to the onset of construction activities. Number 11, condition that the written proof of the Department of Transportation that the existing posts are approved and will be covered in the state DOT permit approval. Number 12, all hazardous materials will be handled in accordance with state standards and applicable permits per town code 10-3-4. Grease traps will be installed prior to operations. Number 13, ADA compliance will be prioritized by the applicant and will comply with all applicable permitting requirements. Number 14, trash enclosure in accordance with 11-4 dash, I think it's maybe 5.
Yeah.
Okay. 5E, this is still being worked out with the neighboring property owners and a plan will be provided to the town. Parking requirements, 11-4, 10, 17, Long Branch is talking to a neighboring property owner and provide in writing. So I think, is it number 15?
Should we put business license?
What's that?
Business license, would that already be included in
Yeah.
just town code?
I think it's just town code compliant.
I would almost suggest maybe removing that 15 since you're
Okay. Yeah, so,
granting that exclusion and replacing it with the requirement for a town business license.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, because that's the same thing that's in number 4 in the other.
Right.
yes. So, and then, so
And I think, number 16, a trash abatement plan for the neighboring roofs.
I don't think we can,
Do that.
Does your ordinance talk about that?
well, our ordinance talks about trash.
Well, technically, it's a state provision, isn't it? I mean, littering.
Yeah, I think that defaults to like, you just have to follow all the other applicable codes and stuff,
Yeah,
unless your ordinance specifically calls that out.
I don't think, let me look, I don't think it does. I think it just,
So that one that I have 11-4 down, it is 11-4-5E.
search. I think it just talks about, not having open trash, let's see. Yeah, 11-4, performance standards, garbage or yard waste, incineration enclosures, incineration, no exterior incineration of trash. Number 2, trash enclosures. A permanent enclosure for temporary storage of garbage, refuse, and other waste materials shall be provided for every use other than single-family dwellings or duplexes in every zoning district. It shall be unlawful, this is called a disposal site, this is in chapter 4. Shall be unlawful for a customer to allow trash to accumulate, create an unsightly, unsanitary condition around their dumpster or garbage site. It is the responsibility of each and every customer to maintain a neat and clean disposal site. In the case of shared sites, the responsibility for cleanup shall be equally assumed. Let's see. Trash and litter, the site shall be policed to remove trash and litter, waste containers shall be emptied. What is that? Oh, that might be for certain uses, but I don't think that one applies.
I don't think that if it's not in chapter 11, I don't think it applies.
Okay,
It's a different type of penalty. It's
sure.
enforced by law enforcement, it's not.
So
enforced by
it's
zoning.
11-4-5.
Yes.
That applies.
So I'd like to make a recommendation that
Yeah.
on that number 14, keep sentence 1, trash enclosure must be in accordance with
Yeah.
1145E, and then delete that second part, except unless you wanted to say I mean, you could require like a written plan for it, but you couldn't really force anyone to follow it because you don't have that.
Yeah, so, but they do
But
have
they
to
just
do
have to
it.
follow the ordinance, yeah.
They do have to
Yeah.
follow the ordinance.
Yeah.
So,
So just to be clear, just for my notes, we do not need a permanent trash enclosure then?
you do.
You do.
You do,
Permanent
yeah.
trash.
Like a
enclosure.
fenced enclosure?
Mhm. It's an 11-4-5E. So she might lose her parking spots to get a trash enclosure.
Well, or take up the alleyway that goes between and still.
Well, you can't because there's an easement for the sewer line. So she's gonna have to find some place to put her trash. So whether it be offsite or,
Can I, no, I'll leave this.
So you know where the sewer lines are then? You do? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
I think that, I mean.
wasn't it surveyed? Did Margaret survey it when they?
Yeah,
Eric's online.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Eric. Well, I don't want to get off topic, so, yeah, so.
Yes.
We'll talk to you later. We're just trying
All
to
right.
locate the sewer lines, yeah.
I can share the map. It'd be really,
Yeah, we're getting off track though. We're gonna try to stay on this subject for now. We'll have that conversation later, but thank you for listening. Okay.
So I think again, like, if all of these look okay with those amendments, but then excluding number 7, because that's specific to the hog wire,
Yeah.
you could do a similar motion to the criteria one, like, we accept the conditions as proposed with amendments, with the exception of number 7.
well, I mean, number 7, and then do we ask for these written plans for 14 and 10 as well?
No, I don't think we can ask for written plans. We can't.
Well, number 10, yeah, you can require that, like,
Yeah,
show
number
the
10,
10.
yeah, but number
Yes.
14. we can't.
14, I don't think so, because they just have to follow the ordinance.
Just have to follow you.
Yeah.
I understand.
So are you getting rid of the second sentence?
Yes.
Number 14?
Yep,
Yes, okay.
and replacing number 15 with must obtain town business license.
Okay.
Prior to onset of construction.
For the contractor, the Long Branch probably already has one.
Subcontractors and contractor.
Perfect.
So. Could you just exclude number 7?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say we accept these as amended with the exception of number 7, which should be struck at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's ties back to that criteria 1.
So you don't say it's approved, you say,
Yeah, so go through these first, and then you'll need to make an overall motion, which, for the whole project, I know this is ridiculous, right? That we ask for further information and we want to table the decision, if that's the direction you want to go.
that's what I'm.
Or, yeah,
The continuance or table.
yep,
Do I make a motion that we accept the conditions of approval with exception
With
of,
amendments.
with amendments, with the exception of number 7, as that it be stricken, and then we
Strike number 15.
strike number 15 and change it to business licenses.
So contractors and subcontractors obtaining a town.
Where's that?
Oh, that's what we're doing. We're making that their business.
Okay, number 15, contractors and subcontractor obtaining a town of Ennis business license. And edit 14 to
Just the first portion.
Must.
just the first portion, trash enclosure in accordance with 11-4-5.
And you were gonna mention number 10 as well.
And strike the last part of 14, right?
Yeah, the last part of 14, but 10 is adopted.
10's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10's adopted.
it's in there, yeah.
And then, no trash abatement plan?
Right.
Are you enforcing?
No.
Okay, then there we go.
Second.
Further discussion?
Can you read the motion back so we're clear?
Yeah, go ahead,
Why
Brenner,
would we not
please.
go?
That's why I asked, just to make sure.
Okay, so Commissioner Hardy moved to approve the T&D agreement with amendments by striking number 7, changing number 15 to have the subcontractors and contractors to obtain a town business license, and editing number 14 to just have the first sentence and striking the last sentence.
And
Striking condition 7.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, okay.
and it's the acceptance of the conditions
Conditions
of
of
approval.
Oh, just of approval, okay.
Yeah, conditions of approval, not the T&D agreement, it's just the conditions of approval.
Thank you.
You bet. We got a second?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we're on to Commissioner Hankins.
Your discussion.
Oh, discussion, yeah, well, yeah, okay, we've got a motion and a second, further discussion.
I don't know, I'm just a little weird about approving it with.
There's no, we're not.
No, this is
This
the
is the
conditions of approval.
We're just
not-
approving the ones we agree on.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We still have to do another motion.
I-
to approve the project.
Yeah.
We're not there.
It's a long process.
Anybody confused here?
Commissioner Ranson,
Aye.
we're taking it piece by piece.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to the T&D agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
So at this point, I would encourage you to make a motion on the overall proposal. So that then you can discuss the concerns and then amend the motion if you so choose, if I think this is where you're going. Amend the motion to continue with the request for an alternative design for those walls be provided.
And the T&D basically just mirrors the conditions of the staff report, the conditions of approval on the T&D, so.
Does someone want to make a motion on the overall?
Yeah, make a motion to approve and then discuss it and then probably amend that motion to whatever, if that's where you're going. I'm trying to lead you. I'm just
Yeah,
trying
you're
to-
doing a fabulous job.
Or you
So,
could, yeah.
We only get these every once in a while, and so that's why
Yeah,
it's
the
always
process
a
is
new
onerous,
group of
yeah.
people. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the overall Long Branch Saloon TND agreement.
Yes.
Application and agreement.
Application
And-
agreement, yeah.
Application and agreement.
Second.
Discussion.
So yeah, I think, like a parapet wall. thing. Good idea.
You can't tell her what to do. Bro, I'm glad you like that.
You could go back, you could go back to like, it just doesn't meet that criteria one.
Sure.
Yeah. We want to, as the discussion has evolved, we like this project, we just want to see a different design.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's a great
Compatible.
project, and I think it would be,
That's compatible with the other buildings
Yeah.
around it.
yes. That is what. So then, do we amend the motion to continue the discussion? Is that?
Yeah, with the request for alternative design.
So I move to continue this discussion and table this at the moment and asked for new design, different designs to alleviate our concerns on number one, that it does not meet the design criteria. And submit those to us within the next 60 days.
60 days?
Well, I just picked a number. I don't know.
They can turn them in
Right?
sooner. They can turn them in sooner.
Yeah, you
On
can do
an
them anytime.
architectural, that's manageable.
Okay,
Is that too much, too little? I don't,
well, you could come before then, but is that
Yeah.
enough?
Right,
Yes.
yeah, that's enough time.
okay, I mean, I just picked a
Amend the
number.
plan.
I don't
Because
know.
all they're doing is amending the plans, correct?
Yeah.
Just to show a
Yeah.
different reflection.
So we vote on the amendment first. So can I get a second on the amendment to?
Second.
Okay, to continue the discussion.
No.
No, keep it.
No, John made the motion to amend.
Okay, Commissioner Hardy, this is the vote solely on the amendment to continue, for a motion to continue this and to ask for additional plans within 60 days.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Commissioner White.
Aye.
Okay, all right, okay. So now back to the original, so back to the motion, which is,
Corey's motion to approve.
Yeah.
The TA.
I would take a vote
yeah,
at this point, because Christie seconded it,
okay, but the motion,
was to approve. So now you would vote, do you want to approve it? And it would be no, because you
Because-
amended it.
That's what I said, we have to
Yeah.
vote no because we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
continued.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I thought.
okay. So, Commissioner White.
No.
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 Nay. Oh, nay.
Okay,
I said the wrong word. Nay.
all right. We still got one agenda item. What, if I can find my agenda?
We're not done.
We're not.
Sit down.
We are not done.
Okay.
Not.
So, capital this was suggestion of Mr. Way, we would like to see capital improvements committee. I think this is, really good, because to have a capital improvement plan, I mean, then you can go, we have one.
Did we redo it recently? Was that Randy was supposed to work on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I don't know, I wasn't here.
I was trying to just figure out what capital improvement is.
So a capital improvement is something that we would like to improve within our
This is our.
facilities,
Hopes and dreams.
our hopes and dreams of what we would like to do.
And
I
then
do
a
actually,
rank of where they.
where they
yeah.
fall in a priority,
Yeah.
like, do we want
This
to,
kind of goes
okay,
back
so
to
here's.
dinner.
So,
Sit around and powwow and have a work meeting and then.
yeah, like one of the things could be capital improvement, ADA compliance with town hall. That would be.
That
We're doing our zoning.
Yeah. Well, that's not, that's an ordinance change, that's coming up, that's why I harped on you guys as a private. But yeah, so we can form a committee. You guys would like, we can do it together over a work session.
I would think that Eric needs to be involved in this at some level. I think,
Libraries.
the library needs to be involved, all
Maybe
the
chambers?
pieces too.
No, it would just be for us.
Just for town, and then, maybe just appoint somebody to spearhead this and
Okay.
talk to Eric, talk to the library, and make a simple report back to this, committee to
What
further discuss.
their needs are.
Well, what their needs are to further discussion
Yeah.
or something like
Thank you,
that.
Tyson, so much, appreciate it. I'm sorry, so, yeah,
Maybe that's the way to go about it, instead of another,
or do we just wanna ask them to share their facility needs? Or do we wanna sit
yeah,
down and
I
interview?
think you need to sit down with them and go, okay, really, what do you need? I mean, yeah,
What do you
we
need?
all want a circus, but we can't afford the clowns.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly, okay.
Are
So,
you talking about an actual capital improvements plan? Has the town ever done one?
yes,
That's a thing.
10 years ago.
That's
yeah,
the thing.
20 years ago, I think it's old.
So
20.
there is statute around those,
Okay,
and they're generally primarily engineering documents. So
Yeah.
you generally have an engineer put them together, but they pull together all of the data and work with your departments to get all that information and then coordinate the priorities
Okay.
off of that. Most communities apply for either MSEP or a CDBG to do it.
Yeah.
Just because you need the engineering piece. That's the main component.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like facilities of like water and
Yeah,
sewers,
it's pretty much all
everything.
infrastructure, facilities, anything under the town's purview that, yeah.
Okay, maybe we can dig up the old one, or do you just want like some facilities improvements?
Yeah, I put it, I mean, I know we talked about it once, and that's why I asked you to put it, so we could talk about it and not just kick it
Okay,
down the road, at least have a
Sure,
plan to move forward.
let's pull our old one.
Yeah.
See what's in there, so maybe, because maybe there's stuff in there that we can work on.
Yeah.
That's been identified.
I will say there is still some things going into certain agenda, or not agenda, sorry, funds or accounts specifically for the old CIPs that we've had.
Yeah.
For streets.
No, not for
No,
streets,
it
for
was
the
for-
library, and there was one other one I distinctly saw while I was going through budget. So there are some that are still growing their fund, by the way.
So, and would that be a budget amendment that we could change those funds around? I think we probably
Yeah.
could, because I think, at least when I was on the commission previously, there was an X amount for a new police car every year.
Yes,
Like,
that's the other one.
Yeah.
There was tons,
Yeah, so there was some other things like that, so I think we would need to do it. So I will forward you, I will dig up the capital improvement plan, the most recent one that we have, and we can take a look at that, because maybe there's things, tasks that we can try to without having to go to a brand new plan.
Yeah, so CIPs are kind of like growth policies. They're not a regulatory document and they're not a requirement. But the kicker with them is if you are applying for grant funding for
You have to have
infrastructure,
them.
you have to show that you've been doing it
Yeah.
and that you've been thinking about it. And generally, those agencies are looking at 5 years,
Okay.
every 5 years.
So,
That you're
yeah.
at least updating it.
Yeah, that's why we started talking about it 10 years ago, is because it hasn't been done in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might be due for an overhaul and
Okay.
then from there, you just revisit it, you know,
That sounds good.
which is a less of a haul.
Okay, that sounds good.
Does that still require, engineering?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a very technical.
Yeah,
Is
and they're
it
gonna,
kind of like Main Streets where we had Cushing Trail come and do that kind of stuff? Is it kind of similar to that or
no, that's more similar, that was a master plan, it's more similar to your growth policy.
Okay,
It's more of
yeah.
a vision and goals. Yeah, this is the nuts and bolts. They'll ask you, engineering firms will always ask if you want a Paiser analysis, which goes through and measures and grades, not grades, but grades your
Yeah.
roads.
ABCD, yeah,
As far as like what condition they're in.
yeah.
So those are things to consider. At the county, we just put an RFP out to update our CIP, which is 10 years old.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like, we just had this conversation 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
So,
something I had a burning question, and I've forgotten it. Thank you for your guidance.
yeah, sorry, it was just fresh.
No, that's
So when you
perfect.
start
No,
talking, I was
that's
like,
really-
oh,
no, that's really
deja
perfect. Yeah.
Should we pay lots to come to every meeting? Can I just buy you $3 I'll check out
So,
that.
so can we throw a committee together
Or
or?
would it be
Yeah.
appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, so give you the old CIP and then maybe, oh, here's my question. So, for you, is there like a matrix or spreadsheet of something that's like, okay, growth policy this year, CIP this year, just so we know whether we're sitting in these seats or not,
Shaking her head. No,
to be like,
Not that I-
okay, hey, it's 2029, we need to work on our, we need to do this.
Relook at it, that's.
Yeah, so like, so we just did the growth policy.
yeah,
Ideally, it would be done in another 5 years. So in 2031, hey, you guys, this is what's on the agenda for your year. I think that would have been helpful for us to know which ones to go
Well,
after.
that'd be super handy. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
see if we
Should
can work on
definitely
that.
pull that together to
Okay.
know what you have out there,
Well, 'cause
when
there
it was
was-
done.
Yeah.
Was it actually adopted? You know,
Exactly, like the zoning, it was done, but it wasn't adopted.
Adopted.
yeah, there's,
And
We
then-
adopted a lot of stuff.
But then there's
Even
other,
Main Street, we almost didn't adopt that. I don't even know if we did.
the master plan, yes, it was adopted.
yeah.
But almost didn't get adopted and all that time.
I
And
think
then
it was
Jane-
unanimous on that one.
So
It did pass, but there are other things, like, so I just, and I will segue into mayor comments. I'll circle back to you guys for commission comments. So I just applied for that tourism asset grant for the Lions Club Park revitalization. You know, one of the things is, have you done the tourism assessment? There probably are like 25 of these assessments or strategic planning or things that, you know, PER, I know we just did one, you know, so maybe coming up with like, hey, this is a timeline to do all these things, or don't forget about it, you know, because it was like with Montana Main Street, like that, just, it was, you know, it's not right in front of you, you kind of forget about it, it's just on the back burner. And so maybe we can come up with, and maybe I can work with some, whether it be Great West or maybe the Department of Commerce, of like, okay, what studies do we need to be done? And what does that look like? Because there is funding through, like, I think MSU Extension or some of those grad students are looking for projects to do assessments and stuff like that. So I think that's the piece kind of will go off here. How does that sound?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
do whatever.
Okay, other mayor comments I met with, so I worked on that grant, that got submitted today, so we'll wait to see. We requested, just so you know, we requested, I think, $10,000 for the skate park to help them out, $7,500 for the bathrooms, and then the remainder is for the other Lions Club portion.
And I saw in my notes, you needed letter of support for that, I never wrote.
Too late.
You still-
No,
too
yeah,
late.
we're good.
Okay.
No, we had one letter of support from the chamber, and then we needed a letter of support from ourselves, which doesn't make sense, but whatever. So that got submitted, so hopefully, I'm hoping to hear back on that. In regards to our CDGB funding, we sent them a letter saying, hey, please reconsider. They sent us a letter back saying, yep, we'll reconsider and we'll get back to you. So, no, yes, no, still just hanging out there. Let's see what else. I met with, they're putting on like public art programming and wanting to introduce public art. So we've been so it's like introducing public art for just to be appreciation. They're not advertisements at all or anything like that. So they're working on that programming. So when they wanted to do like, they wanted to find out the rules, and then they also, you know, want to partner with businesses that they'll pay a third, the businesses will pay a third, and then hopefully grant funding would pay a third. So yeah, I thought that was cool. What else have we been working on? Oh, we got a check today yesterday from Gray Assurity for the bid bond. So we got reimbursed for that for $62,000 and some change.
From
Correct.
who?
So,
$40-50.
the insurance company from the previous bid bond. So,
Yeah.
so that was good. That and just working, you know, working. I did talk with the Madison County Sheriff's Office about, you know, our ordinances and them willing to do that, but still, it was a little bit of a gray area on the civil stuff, but like as far as the parking, dog stuff, they did ask us that we align our ordinance with their ordinance. The county ordinance on dogs is stricter, and so then that way they're not bouncing between ordinances to know which one is which. And some of them, you know, like for a vicious dog in the county, you go and see it before the judge the very first time. And Ennis, it takes 3 or 4 times before you have to do that. So I'd like to work on that, get to update our language on that. So, what else have I been doing? Yeah, just trying to work out how that enforcement piece will work, because we have a lot of ordinances on the books, but enforcing them equally across the board is important. So and how, because I think it was only maybe done complaints before, or, so we've got to work that piece out. Yes.
Offer you a tidbit.
Yeah.
So Sheridan and Twin Bridges are also struggling with that. And they are actually communicating with each other on the potential of sharing a code enforcement position.
Yeah, so maybe we can
So-
hop in on that.
Perfect candidate.
So, but maybe I'll reach out to
So,
them.
yeah, it might be worth like
A
elaborating
powwow.
on that.
Yeah, okay. A summit, a Madison County Mayor's Summit.
That would be easier probably for
So,
one person to
okay.
go through town.
That concludes my comments. Back to commissioner comments. Anybody?
I'm kind of a geek on this stuff, but the ITRR just came out with new figures today. The International Tourism Recreation Research out of the University of Montana. I'm on all their stuff. I love this stuff. I dig way into it. And then, the economic impact they figured out for last year of outdoor recreation in Montana was $3.8 billion. 32,094 jobs were from outdoor recreation. And it's 4.9% of the GDP of the whole state.
Wow.
And we're third. We're behind Hawaii and Alaska. They're a little bit higher in GDP than we are, but and they gave a list. Boating and fishing was number one. RVing, hunting, shooting, and snow sports were tied at 3 and 4. So I just geek out on this stuff, and every time they release more information, I go through it all. And
What's Madison County ranked in Montana?
well, they haven't released it by county yet. They just released the overall. And you remember last year I brought the county stuff to us? And when they do release it by county, broken down by county, I'll bring it to us.
Oh, just a side note, I'm sorry, there was one more thing. I did reach out and looked at our resort tax declination letter, and I reached out to a friend that works in the tourism industry in Helena and asked him if we could maybe get some assistance to maybe a motion to reconsider. So, or if there's a process for
I
that.
second that.
Okay.
So that's all I have. It just came out today. If anybody wants to.
Yeah, so you send it over, that'd be great.
But
Because
yeah,
all those information, that's really helpful, like putting together the grant for the tourism grant.
Yeah.
And there's other tourism grants too,
Yeah.
so all that,
Yeah, and I think I sent you the Madison County stuff
You did,
for
yeah.
last year.
yeah,
When it
that's,
came out.
yeah,
And I said, I'm just a geek for that organization, so.
very good. Commissioner
Are you
Ranson?
inviting them down?
Well, the University of Montana in Missoula, go Chris, so I have seen them here. Yeah, I have seen them here at the town pump doing
Yeah.
their surveys.
Yeah,
Oh.
With their iPad, they stand there and do their little survey thing.
You should be nice to them.
Yeah, be nice to them. Go through the survey like
Be
3 or
nice
4
to
times.
everybody.
You're talking to me.
When I see them, I get all my guys to
Lead
go
by
through the survey,
example.
just so
You've been around. Lead by example.
yeah.
Standing.
No comments? Okay, Commissioner Hankins, any comments?
No.
Commissioner Hardy, any comments?
Next time.
Brenna, how many VRBOs or short-term rentals have we identified? You sent me a number.
Identified, I can't
Or
remember.
we get,
We did get one more. Some gentleman came in, he asked me a couple months ago to give me all, what do I need to do it? And he came in with all the paperwork and got it all done, so that was nice. But the mayor's looked into that more and converted it to a binder. Before it was just in a paper envelope binder, and she put it in a hard binder.
I didn't get an actual count just yet, I was just looking.
I want to say
more.
27.
Yeah, that seems about right.
That's sounded right from me.
27 we have licensed, or
No, together that we identified our.
There's probably like
sellers.
7
how many
years.
are licensed?
I was supposed to be working on this.
I think 12.
So there
13.
12 or 13, and that's the enforcement part that we have to work on. And so the other part is we might want to VRB, the address isn't on there, so you're, which one is that? I spent 3 hours the other day going through stuff and just being like, okay, because Brenna went through it, I think in December, went through all the RBOs. And so we're, okay, well, and then, we get the answer, oh, well, that's a long-term rental now. Well, it's still advertised on VRBO. So it's that sort of compliance, but if we can change the ordinance to make them, hey, you have to put your permit number on the in part of your description, like, oh, charming downtown Buffalo, business ID number this, then that would be super helpful, for us, to do that. So that would be a consideration, to do. So, and it's the enforcement part. So I'm working with Ed Guza and then, Sam Martin too. I have a conversation with them on April 6th to talk about what enforcement looks like.
Is that prosecutors?
So, because it's civil, there's criminal and then there's civil, so what do we want to do? And it's chapter 1-4, if you guys want to see of how that, and it says an officer or anyone authorized, so we've got to figure out, I want a step-by-step process that happens, because it doesn't make sense for us to, send them a letter of a citation if there's not, the evidence in court to back it up, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you back April 9th. Christy or Nikki, sorry.
I know. Nikki, give her one. Let Nikki do one thing tonight.
So that's, we can tell Claire all the time as the planning board, it's like, I don't.
Yeah, our phone.
I was gonna ask.
He's got it. Yeah. You should call.
I didn't think so, that's why I was doing it. But I also was gonna come early to do
Maybe chairs. Brenda, you want chairs?
No, we don't have court until the 6th of April. We're good, just leave them.
Oh, totally, like, it's all like this whole, okay, I dug up.
I know, it's over now.
I was really glad to hear that. Together and
Yeah.
It's always recording.
That's what I was like, yes, that's what I was like. I don't really need it. And it sounds like we'll make it like this too, right? Like, you can't put dumpsters.
Well, yeah, we were just laughing.
Yeah. Which is a new thing that I just heard tonight, so I just want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said it.
Well. I'm like, that's not true. They just don't even know.
Which I think that there's a. And I think we can, and I think we have the group. Oh, that's perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? From here on out, you have a waiver in certain states.
Show this
No,
original
we still, these.
Yeah, it looked like the old type. Let's go.
Again.
Of course it is.
I'm sorry. But again. Oh, we tried. You weren't around.
There was, but it was interesting how different towns.
And this, because she knew what the storage and stuff too, she tried to do boo-boo fixes. Screaming at us. And have an engineer for the.
Yeah, the extension, MSU, local government was like, until one of these goes to arbitration, there's gonna be.
Just all over.
Yeah,
But it's like.
it's gonna be interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Susie, for everything.
Because you have to, of course, yeah.